Good morning, guys. So far we saw the analysis of asynchronous sequential circuit, and we also saw the race conditions, cycles, all those things. So today we shall see design of asynchronous sequential circuit. Okay. So as such, I will explain how the design is carried out. However, we give you a slight relaxation in the design. I will let you know that as we come across. Okay, so we will study the design procedure for asynchronous sequential circuit and design it by direct simplification. And we have certain systematic procedure also. We will see that also. That is with respect to using implication table, merger diagram, and closed covering condition. So we will see one by one. So first, let us see the design procedure. So here you are given with the specification. You will be given with the problem statement as such. You have to understand and get what the circuit is expected to perform. Okay. So here the design is actually a gated latch circuit. Okay. You are to design a gated latch circuit which has two inputs, gate G and data D. Those are the inputs and it has one output Q. So this is the criteria with respect to the input and output. Next, what the circuit has to do is what is mentioned. So when G is equal to 1, Q follows D. So whenever the value of G is equal to 1, whatever value D has, that will be obtained at Q. And when G is equal to 0, Q remains unchanged. So whenever the value of G becomes 0, the output will not change. Whatever value it had, it will be retaining the same thing. Okay, that is what the design statement is. So the first thing what we are to do is we are to derive the transition table and the flow table. Okay. So in this, we see to it no simultaneous transitions of two variables because we are designing it as the fundamental mode circuits. Anywhere we won't allow the simultaneous change with respect to two variables in case of asynchronous sequential circuit in order to have the stability in the circuit. Okay. So here, let us consider states with each of this. Here, for example, I have given this state A is after inputs D and G is equal to 0 and 1. So the input conditions, if D and G has 0 and 1, that is denoted as state A. For inputs B and G equal to 1, 1, it is given as state B. We will see one by one. Okay. And with this fundamental mode circuit, we will be seeing to it, you have only one stable state in each of the rows. Okay, va? So we will start from the statement of the problem and end it with logic diagram. That is what our design is usually. Okay, so let us go through this. So here we are going to have a table written so that it will be easier for us to give this primitive flow table. Okay, so we shall see that. So you had the specifications given us. You have two inputs D and G, and output is Q. So this is actually G. Okay. So from the problem statement, we are going to give this thing. Okay, ma? So here we have. Okay. So initially, let us consider a state A where you have the input D is equal to 0 and G is equal to 1. So with that, we give for this condition. Okay. So when G is equal to 0, Q follows D. So we will give the condition with respect to the value of D. When G is equal to 1, for D equal to 0, what is the output? That is first given. Then for 1 as input, what is the output? Okay, va? Initially, for this particular condition, we have written the table. We write the comments as D is equal to Q as G is equal to 1 because that is what is given over here. When G is equal to 1, Q follows D. Okay, va? Next, we need to give the conditions when G is equal to 0, Q remains unchanged. So we have to go through the possible combinations with respect to the input. Okay, ba? So initially this G is changed to 0. So in that case, what we shall see is that is this G changing from 1 to 0 after this particular state. Okay, that is what our first assumption is. So in that case, my output or the Q value should remain unchanged, right? So here the Q value was 0, so it remains unchanged when this changes. Okay, then so I denote that as another state C. Next, we see to it that this G value changes from 1 to 0 with this particular condition. Sorry, I made a mistake there. So this one actually it is here. The output is not changing. The output is same as what you had in state B. Okay. Next, here one more thing we consider is now G value is changed to 0. Now if I change the input, so we know that even if you change the input, once G value is equal to 0, the output should not change. So this remains as it is. Okay. The same way, this occurs after this one. So once G is equal to 0, if I am going to change the input D from 1 to 0, my output should not change. So this is the overall condition we will be seeing over here. Okay. So with respect to that, we have returned certain comments also over here. So here, this particular state C is actually occurring after state A. Okay, va? Because I have changed only this G input to 0 and the D is remaining as such, my output is also same. So this can occur after this particular state. Or this can also occur after this state D because only one value should change and your output is not supposed to change. So this also can happen. Then this particular state, we came over this transition only after this. So you can say that this is occurring after state C. Similarly, for this particular thing, the comment here with G equal to 1 to 0, we didn't change the value of D initially and we checked for the output. So this can occur after state B or this can even occur after this particular thing. Only one input is changing at a time. So you can have that. Okay. So now from this particular table, what we do is we are to derive the primitive flow table. So primitive flow table is something where you are going to have letter symbol for the states. And in general, the flow table and transition table are somewhat equivalent. Only thing is, in case of flow table, you have the letter symbols for the states. Okay. So for that purpose, here we are having two external inputs D and G. And here we have 6 states. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. And here we are going to have the inputs D and G. Now from this table, we are going to fill this primitive flow table. Okay. So what we have to do is, so this is our D and this is our G, this is our Q. So initially for the corresponding states mentioned over here, for this particular input condition, this is your output. So we mark those as the stable states. Okay, va? So that is the first step. So stable states are filled. Okay, va? So here the value is dg is equal to 0, 1. So in the column 0, 1, I give the stable state A, and here the output is 0. Okay. Then for B, it is 1, 1, and the output is 1. So here B as the stable state and the output is 1. Then for C, it is 0, 0, and output is 0. Okay. Then for D, it is 1, 0, and output is 0. So this is D and output is 0. Then for E, you have the same input conditions. However, the output is 1 over here. So E and the output is 1. Next, we have for F, it is input condition is 0, 0, and the output is 1. So F, this is 1. Okay. So whatever with respect to the input combination and the outputs we have, we mark those as stable states. Next, what we do is, so here you are having the input variable as D and G to be 0, 1 for the stable condition. Okay. So where both the variables change, we mark the don't care. That is, so here 0, 1 is the place where you have stable state. So 1, 0 cannot occur. So we give don't care. That is denoted as dash comma dash. Okay. So mark don't cares in the boxes where two input variables change simultaneously. Okay, va? So likewise, we have to do in all the rows. So here, this correspond to dg equal to 1, 1. So both the change implies in 0, 0. So here the stable state is in 0, 0. So we give don't care in 1, 1. In these two, the stable state is in 1, 0. So we give don't care in 0, 1. And for this F, the stable state is in 0, 0. So don't care in these places. Okay, va? Next, what we do is,
Ma'am, can you explain once again how we mark the don't cares?
wherever I have marked the stable states, you check the corresponding input condition. Okay, va? Here for state A, the stable state is with respect to the input dg equal to 0, 1. Right? So where both the variable changes, 1, 0 is the place where both the variables are changing, right? So I give
Yes.
don't care in that square. Likewise, we do for all of it. Okay, va? Now, using this comments, we will be filling the remaining boxes. Okay. Using the comments. That is mainly fill the remaining squares. So, here we have said that this state C can occur after state A or D. Okay, va? So what this implies is you have to give unstable values of C in this particular row of A and D for this input combination. Okay. So this C occurs after A or D. So here I give it as unstable C and the output is given as don't care. Okay. Similar way for D, unstable C and don't care, which implies when the present state value is A and the input condition is 0, 0, you will be in the unstable C, and then you will be moving to stable C. That is what this implies. Okay. Next, we have for D, this is mentioned that this occurs after state C. So, in the 1-0 input condition of state C, we should give D. So, 1-0 input condition, this is D and the don't care. Okay, ma? This implies when the present state is C and the input condition is 1-0, we are in the unstable state D, and then it will reach the stable state. Okay. And for this one, we have this can occur after state B or F. So, for input condition 1-0, we give the unstable E in B and this F. Okay. And lastly, here we have this 0-0 condition which can occur after state E. So, here we give F comma don't care. For other squares, we can check whether there is possibility of the state A occurring after any of these conditions. Okay. Because we don't have any other stable state in this particular column. So obviously it has to go through state A only. So let us check that. So with the 0-1 condition, okay, this we cannot always say can that this will, oh yes, this can occur after A actually. That is, if suppose I have the present condition as with G is equal to 1, if my D value is 1, I will have the output to be 1. If I am changing the input value to 0, I will have the condition, the output to be 0. So you can actually give at this place, this can occur after A. This can occur after A actually. Similar way, you can check for this C also. So here also, here the input is 0, that is input D is 0 and the gate input G is also 0 over here. So here the input G is equal to 0, D is equal to 0. So you have the output to be 0. So in this place, if my G value changes from 0 to 1, still I will have the same condition because this Q follows the input D. So here also you can say this can occur after state A. And lastly for F, again this is similar to this particular condition actually. So here I have the input D as 0, G as 0 and output is 1 over here. So here if my G value changes from 0 to 1, whatever I had in D will be obtained at Q. So you can say this can also occur after state A. Same way, if you check for these cases, you will obtain B to occur after these cases. So this you can follow as such because here we don't have any other stable states in this particular column. So we can do that. Okay, va? So this is how we do the primitive flow table. So I was mentioning that you will be given some relaxation with respect to this one. What we decided was we will straight away give you the primitive flow table. If we are asking you to design the circuit, we will directly give you the primitive flow table. Okay. But it is always good for you to go through the procedure. But it will take some time for the understanding to come. Okay. You have to spend time and relaxedly do this table. Okay. So now we have this primitive flow table. Okay, ma? Now we want to design circuit for this. So next thing what we do is we will check whether we can reduce the states. Okay. So we are going to do this in two ways. One is by direct simplification, that is by looking at the table, we are going to check whether we can reduce the number of states. The other one actually has the procedure where we will be having, or we will write the implication table, merger diagram, and we check for closed covering condition. So we will see that. So first let us go through this direct simplification. Okay. So here, if you observe this table, so comparing these two rows A and B. So here you have state C, here it is a don't care. Here it is state A, here also state A. Here it's state B, this is state B. This is don't care and this is C. So maybe there is possibility of A being equivalent to B. Okay. Then comparing A and C. So comparing A and C, here we have both C, here we have A, here B and don't care, here don't care and D. So A can also be equivalent to state C. Then comparing A with D. So comparing A with D also, there is a possibility A can be equivalent to D. Then comparing A with E. So here this C and here we have F. These are actually different states. So you can say that A can be equivalent to E if C is equivalent to F. Okay, va? In that case, I can say A and E can be equivalent. Okay. Then again comparing A with F, this is the same case. Okay, va? Similar way, we compare for everything. Next, comparing B with C. So here, comparing B with C, we see that here we have E and this is D. So B is equivalent to C if D is equivalent to E. Okay. Then comparing B with D, again the same thing here, because here you have E and D. Then comparing B with E, there is possibility for B being equivalent to E. Then comparing B with F, you have possibility of this being equivalent to F. Okay. Then comparing C with D. So here you have a possibility of this being equivalent. Then with E, you have, so C will be equivalent to E if C is equivalent to F. Only in that case, that one, and also with D being equivalent to E. If those two conditions are same, then C can be equivalent to this one. Okay. Then comparing C with F. So here, if you see, this is also a stable state with output 0. This is also a stable state with output 1. So C and F cannot be an equivalent state. Okay, va? So C and F cannot be an equivalent state. So this indirectly implies C and E cannot be equivalent, A and E cannot be equivalent, all those follows. Okay, va? Next, comparing D and E. So comparing this D and E, here again, we have the condition if C is equal to F, then that can be same. However, we have just now found that that is not same. And also here we can see that D is the stable state with output 0. Here E is a stable state with output 1. So D cannot be equivalent to E. Okay. So all these cases fail. Next, comparing E with F. So E with F, it is equivalent. Okay, va? D with F, it is not equivalent as this has C and F and this is D and E. we saw that those two are not equivalent, so that is not possible. Okay. So here, now to group this, what we do is we consider, so we know this C and F cannot be in the same group and D and E cannot be in the same group. So what we do is we combine it like A, C and D can be grouped together because they have similar combinations. And this B, E and F can be grouped together. Okay. That is, those are all equivalent states. That is what the meaning is. So A, C and D. So here we write the values as such. So A, B comma dash, dash comma dash. Then for C we have C and 0, A comma dash, dash comma dash and D comma dash. And for D we have C comma dash, dash comma dash, B comma dash and D comma 0. Okay. And here for B, E and F. B, E and F. So dash comma dash, A comma dash, B comma 1, E comma dash, then F comma dash, dash comma dash, B comma dash, E comma 1. Then this is F comma 1, A comma dash, dash comma dash, E comma dash. Now we have written as such, whatever we had, we have written it over there, right? Now from this, we are actually, what we are going to do is, we are saying this, the state A, C and D are equivalent and B, E and F are equivalent. That is what we are saying. So what we do is, we have any one of these states, okay va? So I replace this state A, C and D with a single state A and this B, E and F with a single state B. So wherever I have C, D, I will replace those with A, and wherever I have this E and F, I replace those with D. So now with respect to that, so here what we do is, I said we are going to replace it with A. So for this particular column, we actually have a stable value over here. So for this column, what I do is, I will be replacing these three values with stable A comma 0. Okay, va? The entire thing, even though you have unstable combination, it implies all these are equivalent states. So we consider that particular condition. So this is A comma 0 only. And here you have B comma dash, and here you have both don't cares. However, we consider the case to be B comma dash. And similarly, in the last column, we consider A comma 0. Okay, so that will be one row for us. And here again, similarly, we have don't cares, F comma don't care, and F comma 1, which is a stable combination. So this is given as B comma 1. Here it is A comma dash. Here again this is B comma 1, and here again this is B comma 1. So our reduced states, the table will be like this. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 and 1, 0. State A and B. So whatever I wrote at the bottom, I am going to have that in the row for A. B comma dash, A comma 0. Here B comma 1, A comma dash, b comma 1 and b comma 1. So this is our reduced table. Okay. So this is directly by looking at the table, we are simplifying. Okay, ma? Do you understand this?
Ma'am, we compare this AB C using the floor table or using the other table, ma'am.
Flow
The input
table.
output table. But அந்த
From the
input output
primitive
table
flow
வச்சு
table.
கம்பேர் பண்ணாலும் சேம் ஆன்சர் தான் மேம் வரும் இல்லையா?
You will get it.
எனக்கு இது கொஞ்சம் கன்ஃபியூசிங்காக இருக்கும். தட் would be easy.
But you won't be always given with that table. So you need this procedure.
But you can compare a variable to a don't care, ma'am.
Variable to a don't care. புரியல what you are
இப்போ
asking.
இங்க C, 0 இருக்கு and dash இருக்குன்னா those two
Yes.
will be equal.
As it is a equivalent, this is a stable state condition, we are doing that actually.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So with asynchronous circuit, always from the first table where we wrote the comments and things, you might not be able to give all the condition. You may say the equivalent state. However, all these inside conditions you need, right? For that, you need the primitive flow table. Without primitive flow table, you cannot say what will be the actual states and the output conditions, all those things. Okay. Okay. So now, after this, we need to do the state assignment. So when there are only two states, you won't be having any race condition actually. So let us consider this A to be 0 and B to be 1. I think this is the same flow table which we saw previously. I am not sure. So here P, wherever I have A, I will replace it with 0, and wherever I have B, I will replace it with 1. Now we give the table separately for the excitation table and the output variable. Okay. This type of table we saw already. So 0 0 0 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 and 1 0. So here 0 and 1. So the input condition we have 0 0 1 0 for the states, then 1 0 1 1. And for output, we have 0, 0, don't care, 0, 1, don't care, 1, 1. This is what we have, right? So from this, you can give the expression. So capital Y can be given as, so this can be considered as the secondary variable, so small y. So this is given as dg plus y g bar, right? And this as such can be considered together, and the output z can be given as small y. Okay. Now we can draw the logic diagram for this. So you have EG and G bar Y. Okay, this is small y. You can consider the same thing as the output z also, right? So that is what is given over here, this entire thing. So instead of z, we will have that as q itself, because that's what we had in the question. I forgot about it. Okay. So this is the design using logic gates. Okay. The same thing we can do using SR latch also. So we shall see that also. So for the SR latch, the latch excitation table for small y, capital Y, S and R. We saw last class. For 0, 0, it is no change or the reset condition. For 0, 1, it is set condition. 1, 0, it is reset condition. And for 1, 1, again a no change or the set condition. Okay, this was what we had. So from this table, if I am going to give for S and R values, so this is for S and this is for R. So this value is small y, the value inside the squares is capital Y. So for 0, 0, it is 0 and don't care, 0 and don't care. This is also 0, 0, so 0 and don't care. Here it is 0 and 1, so 1, 0. Then here it is 1, 1, so don't care and a 0. Here also it is 1, 1, so don't care and 0. Here it is 1, 0, so 0, 1. So here the expression for S is dg and for R is d bar g. So using SR latch with the NOR gates, output is going to be same. So the bottom one is S and the top one is R, right? So we have this is D and this is G. Okay, va? Okay, so this is drawn using NAND gates. So in case of NAND gates, we know this should be S bar R bar. So the whole thing has to be inverted. So S value will be dg the whole bar. So it is given as the value dg given to the NAND gate, and this is d bar g given to the NAND gate. Okay, so that's how we do the design of a asynchronous sequential circuit in the direct procedure. Okay, so this is implementation using NOR latch, and here we have this using NAND latch. Okay, ma? Okay, so next we shall see something as assigning outputs to unstable states. So far, just with the example we saw, wherever we had don't cares for the output, we simply marked it as don't care. Okay, but there are places where you can actually assign values. So we shall see where you could assign values. So here in this particular example, if you check, so let us consider the case. Maybe let this input correspond to that of 0 and let this correspond to that of input 1. Okay, the external input variable is only one variable over here. So here in this, if you check, for the present state being A, if the input condition is 0, we are in the stable state A with output 0. So no issue at all over there. Next, if the input changes value from 0 to 1, what happens? We are moving to unstable state B, and here we don't know what the output is. However, this eventually then goes to state B and then settles down in the stable state B, right? So here if you check, the output for this is 0. So the transition, when we are moving from A, there also the output was 0, and we are settling down in B, there also the output is 0. So you can consider this output value to be 0. Okay, va? During the transition, if you are being in one stable state and you are reaching another stable state, if both the stable states have same output value, you can give the don't care value to be that particular output value itself. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So as an example for the other case, so here now you are in stable state B with output 0. Now if the input changes value from 1 to 0, you are actually going to state unstable state C with don't care condition, and eventually you are going to be in stable C with output 0. So here I give don't care. Okay, va? The transition, here the value is 0 and here this is 1. So we can't predict what the value is going to be. So we give it as don't care. Same way, here being in state C for input 0, if the input is changed to 1, I go to unstable D with output don't care. Then eventually I am settling down with stable D with output 1. So here if you check, both the outputs are 1. So I give 1 for this particular value. Now again, now being in stable state D with output 1, if the input value changes value from 1 to 0, I go to unstable A with output as don't care. Then I am going to eventually settle down with the stable state A with output 0. So we give don't care over here. Okay. So this is how we can assign values for the outputs. If it is too tedious for you, you can always go with don't care. That is not at all an issue. But in some cases, this might help. So for that purpose, you need to know this. Okay. So the design procedure summary is, first we see the problem definition. So from that, we give the design specifications. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? And how the circuit is going to work. That all we will be giving. Next, we give the interpretation. So we obtain the primitive flow table from the given design specification. Okay. So we need to write the primitive flow table from it. Then we check for state reduction, because you are going to have so many states in the primitive flow table. So we have to check whether there is possibility of reducing the number of states. You can go with the direct merging method, or we also have a method where we will see the step-by-step procedure. Next, the state assignment. Once the states are, that is, you have checked whether there is state reduction or not and all those things. So after that, you have to assign values for the states. So here you need to be careful about assigning values to the states, because you should not have any race condition in the circuit, because if any race condition is going to occur, you may be in serious trouble. So for that purpose, we have to do that. Then output assignment. So you assign values for the output. You can always give don't care. In some cases, it would be good for you to analyze and give the output values also. Then we do the simplification from the transition table. So giving values for all the states and all those things, you will be getting the transition table. So from that, you could design the circuit either using combinational circuit with feedback or using the SR latch. Okay. With SR latch, you could always use NOR gates or NAND gates. Anything is fine, but the input should be marked accordingly. Okay, wow. So that is the general summary of the design procedure. So next we shall see the reduction of state and flow tables. So this we actually know. So the reduction of state and flow tables. So we will be seeing the condition equivalent state and the compatible state. So with equivalent state, we straight away say if two states are going to have same next state and the output, we say those two states are equivalent. Compatible states are something where it is mentioning that is you may not exactly get the same next state value. So there we imply some conditions. Okay, that is what we call the compatible states. So with equivalent states, as I mentioned, for each input, the two states give exactly same output and go to the same next state. So that we call it as the equivalent states. So here in this particular table, if you are going to see this state A and B, this A comma B implies these are the pairs. You could say this to be, that is A and B are equivalent if this C and D are equivalent, because with respect to these two states, you have same output, and with respect to these two states, you have same output. So when can you say these two states are equivalent? If this C and D here with input condition x equal to 0, you have states A and B over here. So this implies C and D can be equivalent if this A and B are equivalent. The same way in these two states also, here this is A and B itself, so that is not a problem for us. However, here this gives C and D. Okay, so that is what this is called, the implications, the implied states, all those is this one. Okay, you are having same output conditions. However, with respect to the state, it is implying that if some other states are equivalent, then you can say this is equivalent. That is what is shown over here. Let us see an example. So this is actually the same example that we considered for the synchronous condition. So with the synchronous condition, we directly check the values and we saw this D and E having same next state and the output, and we replaced one of the state with the, that is we removed one state and replaced that variable with the other state value, and then we started comparing. The same thing we did. Here what we are going to do is we are going to write the implication table. So what is this implication table? So we are to actually compare and simplify. So for that purpose, what we do is we give this sort of format. In the columns, we will leave out the last row in the implication table. Across the columns, last state is left out. And in the rows, first state is left out. Okay, so these are the rows, right? So you will be having the rows from B to G, and along the columns you have A to F. Now we compare this each and everything. That is, state A should be compared with all of these states. B should be compared with all of these. Likewise we go. Okay, wow. So comparing this A with B, here both the outputs are same. However, we need to know if this D and E are equivalent, then you can say A and B are equivalent. So that is marked over here actually. So Maybe we shall see this in the tomorrow's class. Okay, now we can't finish it and I need to write and explain. So we shall see it in the next class. Okay, thank you guys.